In a remote mining colony prison, the inmates are forced into grueling labor every day while wearing devices that keep them from speaking. When a machine known as the crusher pit breaks down, the guards summon prisoner Kai to repair it. Within minutes, Kai has the machine running again. Suddenly, a new prisoner arrives, and the entire group is stunned to see it's Hatch, the general who lost the Civil War to General Lang. One of the prisoners, a former rebel, stands up at the sight of his leader, prompting a guard to punch him. The prisoner retaliates with a headbutt, sparking a brawl as another inmate takes the chance to attack a guard, knocking him to the ground and beating him with chains. Sensing the brewing riot, a guard activates the crusher pit in reverse, causing the chains on a prisoner's legs to pull him toward the machine. Within moments, the prisoner is dragged in and shredded to pieces. At this, Hatch gives a covert signal, and a hidden shooter takes out a guard from a distance. Hatch and the other prisoners begin overpowering their captors. One of the guards, in a desperate move, reactivates the machine, causing more prisoners to be pulled into the pit. Kai rushes to stop the massacre, but the chain starts pulling him as well. He manages to grab a fallen weapon and shoots the chain, but it doesn't help, leaving him with no choice but to sever his own leg. As his limb is pulled away, Kai limps back to the controls and shuts down the crusher. In the chaos, Hatch signals again, and the hidden sniper eliminates the last guard. Kai collapses from exhaustion and pain. Later, Kai awakens aboard Hatch's ship with a mechanical leg in place. Hatch removes the prison device from Kai's mouth and explains that he's been gathering former rebels to rebuild his forces and strike back. Hatch reveals he knew Kai's father, who also fought for the rebellion but has since been captured by General Lang and is set to be executed on Liberation Day, the anniversary of Lang's victory. Knowing Kai's skills as a pilot, Hatch proposes a deal. Kai must infiltrate and hijack a critical enemy ship to retrieve sensitive data. In exchange, Hatch promises to use the information to help rescue Kai's father. Kai agrees, and he is soon placed in suspended animation to be smuggled aboard the enemy vessel, the Arrowhead. Midway through the mission, Kai awakens as planned and finds his way to a terminal to access the ship's systems. Hatch communicates with him over the radio, instructing Kai to plug in a device that will automatically download the necessary data. As the download progresses, a warning message appears, notifying Kai that continuing would leave the system vulnerable. Hatch assures him it's just a temporary issue and urges him to proceed. As the data transfer continues, the ship's systems start to go offline, and an electromagnetic storm outside worsens the situation. Despite this, Kai completes the download, but the ship's vulnerability causes significant damage, ejecting all escape pods with the crew still in suspended animation. Kai barely makes it to the shuttle before it too is expelled from the ship. He loses consciousness as it crash lands on a nearby planet. When Kai regains consciousness, he tries to reach Hatch, but communication is down. Stepping out of the shuttle, he sees escape pods scattered across the planet's surface. However, the atmosphere proves toxic, and Kai has to retreat inside. The ship's AI, named Reef, warns him that prolonged exposure to the environment could lead to paralysis or death. With only 12% oxygen remaining, Kai receives a message from a surviving crew member, Oleander, calling for any survivors to rendezvous at the crash site. Kai grabs an oxygen mask and ventures out, discovering Oleander's lifeless body and a nearby pod with someone inside, Taryn. Kai shares his oxygen with her and brings her back to the shuttle just as Oleander's body is mysteriously dragged away. Back on the shuttle, Taryn logs into the system and expresses distrust toward Kai. Although the AI cannot locate the Arrowhead, Taryn insists they must find the other escape pods before they're stranded. Kai tries to contact Hatch again, but fails. As they explore the area, Taryn reveals that they are on a moon, with the planet looming above them in the sky. Eventually, they stumble upon a research probe that has been heavily oxidized by the atmosphere. Not long after, they find the Arrowhead wrecked near a glowing obelisk that Kai swears wasn't there before. While debating their next move, Taryn recognizes Kai as one of Hatch's men, revealing that the general was known for raiding colonies and causing countless deaths before the war. Nonetheless, Kai claims it's all just propaganda and heads back to the shuttle. He takes control of the pilot's seat and tells Reef to engage the flight system, but Reef refuses, saying Kai isn't authorized. Instead, Kai requests an update on Hatch and Reef plays a confession video. The footage shows Hatch admitting to his crimes after losing the war, but Kai catches a strange gesture in the video and questions its authenticity. He asks Reef for more details, but the information is classified. At that point, Oleander sends a message saying evacuation will commence in 30 minutes. Kai then returns to Terran and agrees to leave with her, despite the danger. Terran points out that his uniform will make them stand out, so Kai starts removing the primary pieces of his clothing, all while something watches from the shadows. The two attempt to reach the arrowhead when a sudden earthquake shakes the area. Terran turns to see Kai being pulled into a cave by an unknown force. She grabs his hands, trying to pull him out, but she isn't strong enough, and Kai gets dragged away. Terrified, Terran runs to the arrowhead, but it's too late. The pods have already left without her. Unsure of what else to do, she returns to the shuttle to rest. 4 days later, while exploring, Terran discovers Kai's gauntlet and axe on the ground. Nearby, she finds the glowing obelisk and Kai covered in some kind of goo. To her amazement, his leg is fully healed. She brings him back to the shuttle and runs some tests, discovering that Kai is now in a symbiotic relationship with a foreign organism that healed him and made him immune to the toxic atmosphere. Reef continues trying to provide updates, but a frustrated Terran silences it, reminding Reef to only speak when asked. When Kai eventually regains consciousness, he says he can't remember anything other than feeling like he was asleep. He notes that he feels heavier, but otherwise fine. Terran explains that she can't pilot the shuttle either, as only specific personnel had access to the system. The two decide to examine the obelisk, and Kai strikes it with his axe, revealing it's actually a soft cocoon. Inside, they find Oleander's body, also covered in goo. They bring him back to the shuttle, and when Terran touches Oleander's face with her bare hand, he starts twitching. Kai pulls some cables to bring the scanner outside, and they scan Oleander's eyes, finally gaining access to the flight system. Kai immediately begins prepping the engine and asks Reef about Liberation Day, learning that he still has 76 days until his father's execution. Terran is taken aback when she realizes that Kai plans to leave Oleander behind. It's then revealed that she knew Kai in her childhood. He worked for her father. She points out that the Kai she knew would never abandon someone to die. Outside, Oleander wakes up and vomits, yelling that Hatch is going to kill them all. He grabs a gun from the ground, and Kai lunges to stop him just as he fires. After knocking Oleander out, Kai turns to see that Terran has been shot and is dead. Enraged, he begins to beat Oleander before suddenly freezing, realizing he too has been shot. His body writhes, and he collapses, unconscious. Later, Kai wakes up near the obelisk, fully healed again. Strange lights appear in the sky, and he rushes back to the shuttle, only to find the skeletal remains of Terran and Oleander. Upon entering the shuttle, Kai discovers the engine has failed, and he asks Reef for answers. Reef explains that Kai has been missing for 34 days, during which the engine was left running until it burnt out. There are now only 42 days left until Liberation Day. Reef also reveals that Oleander's heartbeat was detected during Kai's absence, indicating he's being revived, just like Kai. Intrigued, Kai heads to the caves and finds footprints in the sand. When he reaches out, his hand glows like the obelisk, so he decides to return to the shuttle. Over the next few days, Kai scavenges parts from crashed pods to repair the engine. He also retrieves Terran's ID badge. As he works, Reef plays cartoons for him. One night, Kai is awakened by a strange sound. He suddenly experiences excruciating pain, and Reef detects an alarming spike in his heart rate. Kai staggers out of bed, accidentally breaking some of his repairs. Reef warns that he could cause more harm and suggests he leave. Kai rushes to the cave, hearing the same eerie noise before a horrifying creature emerges. He bolts, falling to his knees in agony as strange limbs sprout from his back, causing him to pass out. After some time, Kai wakes up once again, covered in slime, and returns to the shuttle. He deduces that fear and pain trigger the transformation and desperately wants to rid himself of the creature within. Frustrated, he begins hitting the engine and mentions Liberation Day, eager to rescue his father. Sadly, Reef informs him that he's been asleep for a long while, and Liberation Day occurred 2 days ago. Overcome with emotion, Kai collapses outside, accepting that he's stuck here forever. 3 years later, Kai is still on the moon, but he's adapted. He's trained his body so that whenever he accidentally injures himself, he can stop the transformation before it fully takes over. He continues to see the mysterious lights in the sky. One night, he spots something glowing in a helmet and eagerly brings it outside, discovering a firefly inside. He releases it, and it joins others in a brilliant light display. Returning to the shuttle, Kai notices footprints outside and discovers Terran's badge is missing. While discussing the situation with Reef, the AI shares a theory. Oleander might have the same symbiotic relationship as Kai, meaning he's been revived, but remains trapped in his monstrous form. Reef believes that death is now part of Kai's life cycle. While their bodies die, their consciousnesses persist in new, replicated bodies. Reef suggests Kai self-destruct, so it can study his body to find a cure. But Kai refuses, arguing it's only a theory, and there's no guarantee he'll revive again. Determined, Kai searches for the Oleander creature and is horrified to stumble upon one of his own dead bodies. He retrieves it and uses it as bait. When the monster approaches, Kai finally manages to shoot it. Hearing distant roars, he slices off a piece of the creature and brings it to Reef, who scans it and confirms it's Oleander's DNA. Reef also notes that the roaring coincided with both Oleander's and Kai's deaths, suggesting something reacts to their demise, perhaps triggering their revival. The sound is reminiscent of a mother mourning her offspring, possibly initiating the revival process. Kai doesn't fully grasp the biological implications, but hearing the word prompts Reef to mention Terran. When Kai authorizes the AI to share more information, Reef plays a recording from the night of the shooting, revealing that Terran had been unconscious, not dead, and escaped after Kai died. The skeleton Kai found later had been his own. Furious that Reef withheld the fact that Terran had been alive all these years, Reef explains that it can only share information when asked. With renewed purpose, Kai sets out to find Terran. He scavenges parts from the shuttle to build a body for Reef, enabling the AI to accompany him on the search. After a long trek, they reach the caves, where Reef attempts to scan the tunnels. However, strong electromagnetic interference disrupts the system. Undeterred, they follow the strange signal, and Kai starts noticing a peculiar smell. Since it's dark, he asks Reef for light, but the AI plays a loud video instead. Kai rushes to stop the noise, but it's too late. The creature emerges from the shadows and attacks. Kai narrowly avoids it, but Reef is tackled, and the monster turns its attention to Kai, biting his arm. Kai seizes the opportunity, using his axe to strike and kill the creature. As the familiar roar echoes through the cave, Kai spots a glow and discovers his original body next to Oleander's. In a moment of grim realization, he covers Oleander's face and suffocates him to end his suffering, knowing this also kills the beast within him. Kai considers doing the same to his own body but hesitates. Instead, he retrieves his prosthetic leg and continues searching for Terran alongside Reef. Eventually, they reach the area where Reef last detected Terran's heartbeat, and Kai deduces that something launched from this spot, indicating she managed to escape. Suddenly, Reef's screen malfunctions, and Kai realizes his prosthetic leg is causing the interference. Upon closer inspection, he finds a pulse grenade hidden inside, revealing that Hatch had never intended to pick him up, instead sending files through the gauntlet. Without warning, the lights in the sky begin crashing down to the surface. Rushing to investigate, Kai is baffled to discover they are escape pods, despite the fact they left 3 years ago, and he's been seeing them in the sky every day. This revelation leads Reef to disclose a classified secret. The moon is part of an experiment involving time dilation, where time passes more rapidly to allow for the rapid production of weapons and soldiers. Time on the moon is accelerated, which is why Kai has experienced events differently than they occurred elsewhere. Years go by on the moon, while only minutes have passed outside. During this time, Kai notices a ship approaching, so he prepares the research probe. The ship lands, and Hatch emerges with a guard. Hatch received Kai's messages, and it took him just 20 minutes to get there. But for Kai, it felt like years. Kai realizes that Hatch was the one who shot down the arrowhead and the pods because he plans to use the moon for his own army. Kai tells him that all the information is in the shuttle, but Hatch sees through the lie and knocks him unconscious. When Kai regains consciousness, he's chained inside the shuttle and discovers that Taryn is also captured. Hatch threatens to kill her, forcing Kai to reveal that the intel is hidden inside the research probe. Hatch goes to retrieve it, but once he finds what he's looking for, he activates a grenade he planted in Kai's leg. However, Kai had anticipated this and had actually placed the grenade inside the probe, which now detonates. In that instant, Kai's body begins to glow, and he fully transforms into his monstrous form. The guard attempts to shoot him, but Taryn intervenes, tackling the guard. As Kai nears Taryn, Reef suddenly appears outside and calls out to him. Kai, now fully transformed and covered in blood, destroys Reef just as Taryn emerges, revealing that the blood belongs to the guard. Taryn gently speaks to the creature, urging him to control the transformation. The beast hesitates, and soon Kai returns to his human form. He reunites with Taryn, and together they mourn Reef. Suddenly, a severely injured Hatch appears and opens fire on Kai before stabbing him. Kai, using his monstrous strength, grabs Hatch by the throat, allowing a creature's limb to emerge and finish him off. Afterward, Kai and Taryn manage to reactivate Reef, and the trio escape using Hatch's ship. As they depart, a roar echoes near Hatch's lifeless body. Subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.